Hey everyone, welcome to a RenderSpaz video, and today we are going to create this cool looking smartwatch in 3dsMax and Arnold, and we're going to pretty much we're building everything from scratch, and we're going to start with creating our base. We're going to go and create the straps, and we're going to do all the material work, everything, and we're just going to kind of pretty much get it in this angle and set up a studio and go from there. So let's get started, and yeah, tag along guys, let's go. Alright, so let's get started as we are going to just get into our front view here, and I'm going to head over into our perimeter of this panel here and just bring out a cylinder. We'll just change the sides over a little bit here to get something more, something like 12 sides should do. Alright, then we'll just remove some of those height segments to 1 and convert this to editable poly. Let's grab these faces, the front face here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete that one out. And then we're just going to use the cut tool and just kind of connect these guys back together again here so that we got some quads. Okay, from here to here. Like so. Alright, you should have something like this. Pretty simple. I'm going to grab this edge. Actually, let's do these faces first. I'm going to grow and just remove the edges here on those faces. So we have the back face. We're just going to bevel this just a bit so we get some shape here. Alright, going to round off that back section there. And we're just going to grab these front edges and just kind of bring them in a little bit to make this a little bit more skinny. Then I'm just going to hold shift and drag out, and then I'm just going to scale down just so we get a little bit more of a bevel this way. Okay, into our front. Holding shift and dragging will give us a little bit of an inset, and I'm just going to bring that inset in a bit so you have something that tapers down. And that's going to give us that little bit groove that we're looking for in the front here. Alright, so once I grab these edges here, I can start to kind of just modify it and slide it. We're going to go to our chamfer tool and give it some roundness. So try. Okay. Let's bring this like 1/6. It should do. Grab that edge and ring. Okay, we're going to delete the middle section out, so we got a little bit of a seam line going through. Alright, so that's just like that seam line that you see. If you look in the reference image, you can see that seam line. And that's what we're trying to create here. Let's see here, I'm going to go to the cylinder, and this is going to be the crown. This will represent the crown, so we're just going to bring this out to our right side here. Okay. And I'm just going to play a little bit with the radius and get a shape going here to kind of copy out what we have there in the reference. See, sides about maybe 25 should do. Maybe a little bit more. 27, give or take. Okay. Height. Let's just bring this slightly down. I'm going to convert this to an editable poly, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to grab this edge. We're going to hit ring. We're going to create the grooves, so I'm going to hit the chamfer tool. Actually, no, I want to do an extrude, and let's just extrude these edges in and taper them out a bit, so you get kind of like something like this. Okay. So play around with this a little bit to see if I can get an interesting shape or something that looks a little bit more correct. I'll bring this guy's inwards a little bit more depth, and if I add another edge, should work. So let's bring these guys back out so they're not intersecting with each other. So you can see now we got a little bit of a bevel inside there. And that's going to work for us. And now if we hold shift on this face, we're going to get a little bit of a groove here. You see how we got that little extra edge, and that's going to be good. So now we can add some detail here. Okay, so I'm just going to grab this guy as well. Come on. Here we go. Drag it out, holding shift. And then this guy right here, let's inset. Like so. Okay. Something like this. And I'm going to just bring this in a little bit, holding shift. And we just got that little bit of an indent, something that looks, give us a little bit of detail. Make it a little bit interesting, you know? Alright, so let's figure out here. If I do a chamfer on these grooves here, I think the chamfer will help when it comes to rounding off some of the corners. So we just got to get a correct setting here that will work so nothing's really too out of place here. So I'm just going to play around with the settings a bit, and maybe if I go to quad, yeah, we're getting something a little bit more uniform here. Okay, and that might, yeah, that's really clean. That looks good. Let's go to segments here. Just gonna see what else I can get out of this. Okay, if I bring the tension down a bit, that kind of helps. Yeah, that's pretty clean. That's looking good. I love the chamfer modifier. That's great. It really helps us there. Okay, so we'll just bring this in, and now I'm just going to scale it and get it in a good position here. Alright, so now that we got the crown in shape, I just wanted to add some little bit of color options here just for now for display purposes. And now we're going to start to bring in some detail here. I'm just going to grab this edge here, and we're going to chamfer to make it a little bit more of harder of a surface here. Okay, so now we got that nice edge going all the way around, and that's looking pretty close to the image, reference image here. Grab this edge here and ring, connect, and then this way we can, let's go over and connect here. Okay, I'm just going to bring that one in a little bit, so we're going to tighten that spot up towards the crease. Okay, we're at chamfer, and I'm going to go, let's see here, bring this inwards like so we got a little bit of an edge there. Okay, something like that. Let's see, let's grab this side over here. There's back here. There we go. Let's grab this outer edge here and bring this in. This is going to create our edge for the inside face here. All right, just holding shift and dragging out, give ourselves a little bit of inset, and then drag back down to extrude that edge, so we get some additional edges here that we can now use chamfer tool, and we'll get something like this where we have a little bit of a lip, so the glass will go in place there. That's looking good. I'm just going to center the watch here. See if this piece will have to come up. Just get it roughly around there. Alright, so we're going to now work on our back face section here, where we're going to just add some detail back here of the watch so that yeah, it just looks a little bit nicer than just being flat like this. So I'm going to grab the faces, inset, and bring it in. Whoa, forgot that guy. And I'll just drag it in a little bit like so, hold shift and get another additional edge here. And do we want one more? I think we do. Or let's see, bring it inwards. this, scale that edge down, and maybe hold shift and just drag out, scale, so we get a little bit of a bevel here. Okay, you could use the bevel tool as well. I'm just using the shift or the scale transform here just to kind of get something going. It's really up to you. Grab all of these edges here. Okay, and then I'm just going to chamfer. So we get that tapering like so. And I think this edge here looks a little bit weird, so I'm going to remove it and then grab that edge that's underneath. You can't see it. If you grab it and chamfer, you're going to get a nice hard edge like so. Let's chamfer this one as well. This way I'll tighten it up a bit. And there's something else. There's two round here, so chamfer there. So that's going to give us a nice hard edge on the edge there. So that should look pretty good. Even here, I want to do that as well. Alright. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, something like this. And now we can start to work on the strap, the brackets for the strap that will hold the strap in place. So that's going to require some little work here, but nothing too much. Alright, so we should be able to get something looking pretty decent here. So let's find a way. First, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this side and delete it out now, because we pretty much want to use the symmetry for doing this part. This is going to help us a lot for speed. Right, and then I'm just going to grab this edge here, and I use the open subdivision modifier to give us a little bit more geometry to work with here for the detail, and then this way I can add an editable poly on top to now actually bring up the symmetry there above that, so that this way the editable poly is now underneath. The symmetry will work correctly. So this way here, if you're trying to grab all these guys, everything should work. Okay, so let's bring in some. Let's do an inset. Okay, and this way, this will give us an edge at the bottom here. So if I go to extrude, and I extrude this upwards, like that, start getting that branch. Okay, we'll just kind of rotate this top section here, straighten it out a bit, and holding this, or using the scale, we can then taper it inwards like so, and just drag up holding shift and just kind of moving this in place. Okay, so let's just grab some of these edges here and just bring them, or these vertices here, and just bring it up a little bit, and we're just going to try to get a little bit closer to a shape of what we have in our reference image, just keeping in mind that it does bend a little bit more going outwards. It has a little bit of a curve to it. It doesn't have to be exact, but get something, you know, pretty close, and it should do. So I'm just kind of going to modify this the best I can and see if we get some decent result here. Alright, so I'm just going to grab this edge actually and just want to center it a little bit more, something like that. Okay, and then we'll worry about using the symmetry modifier to go on the other side as well, just so you know. So we're just only going to work on the top section here, and then I'm just going to mirror it back over to the bottom half as well. Alright, I'm going to add an open subdivision modifier on top of the symmetry here. I'm just going to got a little bit of a stack happening here now, so that we can get a shape that we want here. So okay, let's just go back to our, let's see here, where is that symmetry? Okay, we got, yeah, okay, just going to grab these faces, and let's figure out how we want to go about this. Oh, we got to make sure we're off the edge mode. I don't know why I put that on. Let's go to inset, just bring this inwards a bit, something like that, so we got an edge. do this side as well. So we're only going to have to do this once, and then all the other sides will be taken care of, thanks to the symmetry. Alright, so we're just going to clean this up a bit. So I'm just trying to figure out how I want to go about this in a clean manner here. Alright, so let's just clean this up fast. Alright, so now that we have everything in position here, I added some symmetry to the other side, and now I pretty much have a good looking, those arms coming out like that, those brackets, that looks pretty good. I just want to do a little bit of adjustment here. Let's see if I grab this top section here. I'm just going to move these around a little bit and see if I can get it a little bit more in position here. Maybe if I use the rotate tool, straighten it out. Right, very subtle change here. I don't want to go too, I don't want to do too much, because then we're going to start getting some wonky vertices collapsing into each other. So I'm just now what I could do is use the cylinder, and let's bring out our little band, or our band. Well, yeah, we're going to do the band, but what we're going to do here is just have where that little, that pretty much that screw or whatever you want to call it goes in, that holds the strap in place. So let's just get that all set up. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a tube. We're going to just drag it out so that it lines up with the arms. And then we're just going to drag this in place to kind of roughly get an idea of where this should be positioned. Alright. So once we have it here, we're just going to drag it in X here just to kind of match, kind of center this a little bit more. Okay, and then we're just going to bring it actually this way, because facing the wrong way. We're just going to bring it in Y, and something like so. And what we're going to do is convert this to an editable poly, and we're going to grab some vertices in towards the front here. Actually, I just want to, before I do that, I just want to get rid of some height segments. We don't need that many. So it's cleaned up a little bit like so. Convert to editable poly. Okay, we're going to grab this section here. So actually just use the vertices, do the vertices here like that. Oh, let's make sure we grab the right ones. Smart key select and go. That should work. Alright, so now we're just going to grab these edges here. What we're going to do is we're going to bring them out, holding shift, and drag out. We're going to use the scale tool, and we're just going to scale like this, okay? See, I'm just trying to get the shape to kind of go over the pin. Alright. Let's grab these back faces and bring them out. You get the idea. I'm just trying to follow along with the reference image here. Alright, so let's do that. Alright, so we're going to grab these edges here all the way around. So this way we can create a little bit of an edge. It's going to give us some detail. So I'm going to use the chamfer tool and just drag it out. Let's go to try. Just check that off, and I believe, let's see here. If I go to symmetry, let's just bring it over in Y so that it matches on the other side. Okay, and then once we, let's do an open subdivision here and bring this to 2. Well, there we go. We can see we're starting to get some nice band. The band is actually looking pretty decent here. We just gotta go in and try to get this to fit better. So let's see. I'm gonna need to add a symmetry to the other half here so that when we are modifying one side. Alright, so there we go. So now it should be working here. It's good. So we can just kind of bring this guy in and just get it in place. Alright, so let's just select all these guys here. Just bring them in like so. Obviously you can add symmetry down to the bottom as well, but this will do. Okay, so I'm just trying to get this to look right. Okay, let this pin, we just got to bring in the pin out a little bit. Let's go to editable poly here. And, oops. So I just want to, before I do that, I just want to grab this arm here. Just try to get that into place a little bit better too. So let's rotate it a bit. Okay, so now we're just going to get this arm to look a little bit more natural with the pin and the strap. Like two. Something like this. Okay, so we're going to add this pin back in. So what I'm going to do, I wanted to create a chamfer cylinder to just give ourselves a little bit of detail here. So it looks kind of like a screw or something like that that would be in place here. So using a chamfer cylinder will give us a nice edge here and add some detail. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm just going to go in. Let's see, we're just going to add some sides. Okay, maybe we'll round this corner off a bit. I kind of like the angular look, but maybe just adding 1 or 2 fillet segments should do. Let's bring this in. Okay, let's see what we can do with this guy. Still not finished with it yet. Yeah, something like that. I like it where it has the edge, a little bit more of an angular look to it instead of a rounded corner. And these sides, this should do okay. Okay, let's convert this to an editable poly. I don't need these faces inside here. We're not going to even see this stuff, so let's just get rid of it. And then just focus just on the front face here, okay? So let's grab this edge and this edge here, chamfer, and that's going to give us a little bit of a bevel. Okay. And let's copy this open subdivision modifier, paste it as an instance. And there, we got a little bit of an edge going. clean look. And now we can just take this guy and we can put this in each of the arms. So let's do that. Alright, so now that we did the one side, we just had to drag them down at the bottom here as well. We just used the mirror tool just to move it over in on the other side. Pretty straightforward. You can use symmetry as well. And now let's just get the strap to look a little bit more in place here. I'm going to just tighten up the edge a bit. And let's see if we can get something looking good here. Grab these guys over. Maybe these guys bring them out. Yeah, something like that. Oh, just make sure we don't grab the back face there, or back vertices. Okay, that shall do. And actually, I just want to, one thing I should have done earlier is I just want to take this edge here. Where are you here? This guy all the way around. And let's get some details, get some beveled edge going on and polish this guy up. I just left it hanging there. So let's just, I'm going to use the extrude edge modifier, or extrude edge. And then we'll bring that inwards, okay, and grab this outer edge here, double click on that edge all the way around, so it should just go through. Okay, I don't think we're gonna have an issue here, so actually just want to make sure that we don't have any overlapping vertices, and we do, so we got to grab these guys. If you do have that issue, collapse them, so grab them all. So yeah, let's make sure we have none of that going on. Okay, let's just check this side. I don't think that's going to have it, but you never know. Okay, so let's go back to our edge chamfer, and yes, that's going to separate there. That's okay, we can fix that in a minute. Let's just try to bring out a nice scale here. Get these guys in place. And I'm going to grab this target weld. There you go. Let's get this guy as well. Okay. Let's collapse, make sure there's no other vertices there, and target weld into that. Okay. I think we're looking pretty good here. See, there's a little bit of unevenness here. Fix that. Okay, there we go. Let's bring our open subdivision back in. There we go. Okay. So I'm sure this side's fine because there's symmetry. So that's good. Alright, so what we're going to do with our strap here is we're going to add some detail. We're just going to add a little bit of a little edge or a groove that's an inset groove here on the edge. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. We're just going to grab these edges and connect in the middle here, so we get this middle edge. All right, and then what I'm going to do, actually before I do that, I want to work with symmetry here for this part. So let's convert this guy to editable poly, the whole strap. Okay, we're going to collapse everything in, and I'm just going to remove this face here, or this side. Okay, those faces. And we're just going to reapply our symmetry back. Let's get rid of that guy. I don't know why that's there. And grab it. Okay, actually, before I do that, I'm just going to, let's just set it up. Hit ring on this edge and connect. So now, we're just going to slide this guy over so we get something like this. And we're going to, two. Sorry about that. Let's try this again. And bring this guy over like so. Just tighten it up, bring it over. Okay, I think we're good. Let's grab this edge here, ring, go to face mode, and let's just extrude inwards in the normals here. That way we got a little bit of a groove. That's what I want to do. I want to create a nice groove that goes around the edge, and that's just going to give us some detail. Okay, this is not following the the reference. I'm gonna clean this up. I don't want any of the the holes or anything like that, or any of the. I don't want this to be a leather band. It's more of like a rubber band, like you would see on a smartwatch. I want a cleaner look, just for even time's sake here. That we're just gonna. I'm not gonna follow that band of the reference image closely. So bear with me here. We're just going to use the symmetry modifier to bring our groove on the other side. And now we have something like this. Alright? Nice and clean. And that's what I'm kind of focusing on here. It's just more of a rubber band and a magnetic strip or clip that would be on the middle section. So that's what I'm going for here. Alright, so that looks good. Let's get on to the next part. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to separate our strap here in the middle section, because right now it wouldn't be fully around like this. So we're going to have to detach a section of this, and this will make sense pretty soon here as you're seeing what I'm going to do. So let's just try to find out the area that I want to separate. Okay, so we're just going to grab this edge here, and I'm going to go to our face tool here. Let's just grow. Oops, I didn't have to do that. We could just select that one side, and let's go into editable poly mode here. Actually, before I do that, and I'm just going to bring it up over bring the symmetry over the editable poly here, and that way we can now grab this guy and detach. Where are you? Let's just collapse that guy. There we go. Alright, and then we got this side as well now. So now we got these guys detached. We'll copy, paste. So now we should have something like this. Okay, that's separated. Now what we can do is we can start to have some fun with this. We can start to bring this inwards like so. Grab this guy and bring it out. And we're just going to get this in shape. So let's do that. Alright, so I just got everything in place, and I just pretty much did both straps and brought them in like this into each other, but just with an offset. Now what I'm doing is just focusing on kind of tapering off each part of the ends of the straps, and we're just going to cap them and call it a day with this separation here, okay? And then that way I can start to put in the little band that goes around, or the bracket that will hold these guys in place, the magnetic section or piece of it. So let's just get this a little bit more in place and go from there. It's cap, and then all I'm going to do is connect some of these vertices so they're not just maybe a little bit of a chamfer here just to get an edge. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so we are all finished with capping the ends, tapering them a little bit inwards, and that's all we've done here. And then we offsetted both of these straps so that it's something like this, okay? Alright, so we're going to add a box here, and we're just going to drag it out. So this is going to represent our metal clip, or the magnetic sleeve that the straps go into. Alright, so let's just get that in place. Alright, just going to scale it and do what we got to do here. Just make sure it's covering everything here. Like that. It's pretty close. I'm going to grab each of these faces and delete them out. Okay, we're going to use the shell modifier. That's going to help us get some thickness here as it's going through. And then once we add our open subdivision, that's going to round everything off. Okay. And now we can work on the shape of this. Okay, so I'm going to grab these edges, chamfer, and that's going to tighten everything up. Okay, something like this. There we go. Now we can work with this shape and get it in place. Let's do that. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to work on our front face area here. We're going to start to build this section of the watch. So this should be fun, because now we're going to start to get more into the final touches here of the model of this watch, and then we're going to start to render light and render this guy out. So let's select, I want to select the outer edge of this lip coming down all the way around. If I double click, it will select the whole entire loop here. Okay, and then what we're going to do is I'm just going to get it in place here. Right, and we are going to use the scale tool here. I'm just going to hold shift and drag down. Okay, uniformly we're going to scale this guy, and then what we got now is this edge coming out. So we can now come down into let's see here. Okay, we're going to go to, what is it here? We're going to collapse. And then we're going to select all the faces here, and we're just going to hold shift and drag it out. And actually, if you hold control shift, drag out a face and copy, and we're going to have this separate. So we're going to use that as our glass. So going into our pivot here, we're just going to center that. So this is one piece now. So now what we'll do is hold shift and drag out on the edge here, so we get some thickness. And we also want to make sure we have an additional edge there so that we can get a nice cornering here. So, and also I'll inset in this way and just drag it up just to get a little bit of a bevel. Okay, you can also use the bevel tool. It's just the way I'm doing it here. And then from there, we're just going to chamfer to get a nice little edge on the bevel here. Okay, that's going to pick up some nice highlights. And then, let's see. I'm going to bring this in, it's a little too thick. Okay, something like this. And we can now add our shell modifier, because this is going to be glass, so we want some thickness. Okay, nothing too crazy here, just 1/5 should do. And now we can come in, create a poly, and we start to stick this edge and chamfer that. So when we apply our open subdivisions, we're going to have everything correctly in place. So I'm a little lost here. Okay, hold on. Where are we here? Okay, edit edge. There we are. Let's go to chamfer. Bring it up. Try. Check mark. Let's go. Alright. Grab this. Let's see. We'll just take this guy, copy it, and paste it as instance. There we go. So now we can just bring this guy in place. Alright. Actually, before I do that, I want to grab this outer edge again. And this time we're going to create now our face, okay? But before that, I'm going to hold shift and drag in, just get a little more, some depth there. And hold shift, scale one more time. Whoa, there we go. This is scale twice here. So we get an edge. And then again. And then collapse. Let's see what we have here. Perfect. All right, add the symmetry back. And now we are looking pretty good. I can just bring this guy in and get into place. Maybe something like this. Okay, we're a little bit, there's a little bit of a round edge here, so let's fix that. What's going on here? Okay. No, the problem is this guy. So let's chamfer that. Just want to see actually the result here right away. I could just bring this down to like 1.7. There we go. There we go. That looks good. You see a little bit of an edge there. It's going to be good for highlights. We've got quite a bit of detail going on throughout the watch itself and the face of it. And then the body's looking good. And now we can start to work on this intersection here. We're going to start to put the arms in. And some of those details here that you see. We also got a LED ring or like a light that goes around. That looks really cool for nighttime. And we want to keep things clean here. That's the whole point of this. So we can draw out a rectangle shape, and then that's going to give us, I'm just going to go focus on the end pieces to get that roundness that we're looking for. Alright, so we're just going to go to our rectangle here, and let's just convert this to an edible spline. Okay, we're going to grab these points on each side, all of them. And we are going into their fillet, and we're just going to drag them right up, just like this, okay? All right, so now what we could do is come into our modifier stack. We're going to extrude, and that's going to pretty much copy that shape that we're looking for our time here, okay? These arms will look pretty good as we just kind of put them in to place. Something like this. And then what we're going to do from here, just want to make sure that before I do that, actually, I just want to come in, let's bring in the edible poly stack here and delete that face out. Let's grab these guys, the front faces, let's inset them. Okay, we're going to hold shift, drag up, or actually, sorry, we're going to drag up, and then we're going to do not hold shift. And then hold shift down in here once we just want to create a little bit of an edge. Now hold shift, drag in. Alright, got ahead of myself there. So, once you have that face selected, we're going to now inset. Okay, like that. And now this is that one face that we can pretty much, but now what we got to do here is just add a connection here. And even down here. Just add it, make a cut, just to clean this up. Same here, just clean all these guys up like so. Alright, so now that those are all cut up and into place, we can now take this piece, and what we're going to do is we are going to align this to the center, the pivot of the grid. So we're going to center this guy out, so that way, now that it's the center of the grid, we can angle snap, holding shift and dragging out, and you can see I'll do it again one more time, and okay, and get something like this. Alright, so these guys are now in place, and this is looking good. Alright, so that should do. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is copy, or I'm going to select these edges here on the outer section of the face here, and I'm just going to hold shift and drag it down, and this is going to be inside here is going to be our little ring light that we got, the LED light. Just going to scale that inwards a little bit, get a little bevel going on, and then now we should have this little bit of a groove going inwards there. Alright, a little bit of a trough there. So what we're going to do is grab the faces that are inside here, and that's going to act as our light. Before I do that, I just want to chamfer here, just to make a little bit harder edge. And same with that outer edge. Double click, and let's chamfer here as well. Something like this. Okay. Actually, just before I do that, cutting out that face, I just want to move these guys more in position. Like so. Just actually doing this by eye. So maybe a little more to the right. I'll grab this guy as well. It's a little bit too low, so let's bring him up. Something like this. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna leave that that LED light into when we get into more of the rendering side of things. So right now we can focus on getting the arms in. So let's do that. Let's go over to our cylinder and drag out to the center roughly. Okay, we'll worry about that, getting it right in the center in a minute here. We're just gonna drag it in. We'll drag it above here and just go in and let's get a good segments going here. Got 18 sides. We'll cap the segments here, and we'll get something in shape. So let's move ahead. Okay. So what we've done is pretty much what you've seen. How I've modeled a lot of the cylinder shapes and all that, and adding edges in. So that's pretty much what I've done with this part of the little arm where the arms are going to be attached to this. So pretty much now I'm just holding shift and dragging and getting a nice bevel going on. And so this way when I apply our open subdivision, we get something like this, and the arms can now be attached to our little spinny thing here, okay, that spins them around. I don't know what you want to call it. You know, I tried. So let's hold shift and drag this out, and let's do something like this. We're going to use this shape and try to get something interesting when it comes to the main arms here. Okay, so let's bring this inwards like this, something like that. I'm just going to have to widen it up a bit. Scale it up. Alright, so we're going to set up a scene here as we are now going to start to get into some of the lighting and rendering, and we're going to then add some final touches to the model itself. But for now, let's get a scene going and start working on our materials. So I'm going to set up a simple lighting setup here. Nothing too crazy, just something that will make this watch look pretty cool when it comes to the visualization or the product rendering of this. So we're just going to create ourselves a little bit of a backdrop here. So I'll just chamfer this a bit and round this area off, so it kind of gives us a nice fall off or a nice gradient backdrop. Okay, we'll just get this guy all in place here. Just move this guy around and let's see what we can get. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add in an Arnold light. Okay, we're going to create a sky dome here. And we're going to just tag in a HDR light or HDR map into the textured slots. So let's just let me bring up the material editor here. then we're just going to go over into Maps, OSL, and I'm looking for Environment, HDRI Environment, and let's just bring in our, where is she? Over here. Okay, I think we're going to use the studio light. Let's do that. Okay, bring it in, and we're just going to take this OSL shader or map, and we're going to drag it into our texture slot here. Like this here as an instance, and now we have the lighting plugged in. And right away what I want to do is just come down and let's just drag this out just a bit. We're going to come down where it says exposure. We're just going to crank that exposure up, and let's get the light to come through a little bit more. I'm going to play around with the contrast and all that later on. But right now I think let's leave it at 1, and we'll go from there. We can start now working on our materials. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a standard surface shader here, and we're just going to copy this a bunch of times here because we're going to use quite a few of these shaders for all the components. This way I just don't have to keep dragging them off. This one right now, I'm just going to make this the background, so we're just going to go with this, just a white for now, and I'm just going to kind of roughly go in and apply some of these materials. See if I just drag this guy over to this guy. That's going to be our base, the body part. So we're going to focus on making it this whitish color, but what I want to do with that is I would like, let's try to get this guy in place here. It's just, maybe what we're going to do is darken this guy up a bit for now. Instead of having it white. Okay, I'm just going to mess with the HDR just a bit here, just get some of the just desaturated a bit, and then that way we can now look at our body color here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to change this over so that it we can have this a car paint shader, because I want to use flakes for this. I want to get a little bit of flake or a little bit of specks in the body, in the material itself. So let's go over into the car paint shader here. It's gonna be red, so we're gonna have to kind of change this up here. Like, all right, let's go over our base color. Let's make it like more of a whitish color here, or just white, pure white. And then our flakes. What I want to do is I'm going to use a gradient for the coloring. Just going to bring the flakes, get the flakes in view here. Let's just up our density a bit, and you can see we're getting the flakes happening here now. So what I want to do is bring this in, and now we have this kind of like colorful gradient of each from A to F. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in a noise map, and this way we can break up these colors quite a bit. Okay, so you get something almost like this now. So we got a nice noise in the input that will then break up the colors, and you'll see why I'm doing this in a moment here. But if we were to go to our scale and bring that down, we'll get a nice little bit more of a breakup in there of the colors, and we will get something like this. You can kind of see it through the flakes. So you get maybe something more. Let's bring up the scale a bit more. Try some different types here. Let's see if that's going to do. Bring our scale down quite a bit. So we get something like this. Then what I want to do is I don't really want too much orange in here, so I'm going to take the orange out. I'm going to pick something else. Maybe something like this. Just want to mute it a bit more. I don't want too harsh of colors in there. So I'm just going to kind of go through and try to see if I could soften the colored tones a bit here. So we get something more like this. Alright, and you can see how you're getting also some nice reflections on those flakes as well, from where the highlights are. So we're going to bring our flake size down, so we start getting a little bit more towards the size it's supposed to be. And I'm really just going to play around with these settings until I get something that's going to look quite nice and natural. Alright, so we're getting there. It's looking better. It's a little bit harsh. So if I bring down the density a bit more, we're going to get... Just got to let the noise, denoiser kind of sharpen up here so we can actually see what's going on in the render. But yeah, something like this, very soft. You can see there's a little bit of highlights. I don't really want it to stand out that much, but just nice subtle touch to the body color themselves. So it's just so that it has a, I don't know, kind of like a pearl look to it is what I'm going for. But with a little bit of flakes, something like that. All right, we see that kind of the highlights going on there. That's looking good. Might have to obviously tweak this a little bit more, but this is what I'm going for. And you're not seeing those harsh, the greens, the deep green that we had in there, and the oranges. It's just a little bit more mute. There is some green. If I increase our density, we're going to start seeing more of that noise come through, of the gradient noise. But we just get a nice space going on here, and just something that's going to be a little bit more natural. Something like this. That's looking really good. Okay. Okay. So once we have the flakes applied, what we're going to do now is I'm going to go over and create a, let's see here. Actually, I'll use this one here. Let's just drag these guys down. And I'm going to move this over into the band itself. I've got a little issue here. Oh, I see. Okay. Let's delete that guy out. Actually, bring it back. Let's come in here to the edible poly. This shouldn't be there. Let's remove it. Okay, so now we're going to apply our band material here. And right now we're just going to pretty much leave that white, the standard white for now. And we'll get back to that band in just a moment. It's just better than the color it was. So also, just want to just play with the settings here a little bit. Make this go a little bit more high res so I can see what's going on. Okay. Alright, so let's move a little bit forward here, and let's now add our glass material for the front glass piece here. So we're just going to set up a roughness of 0.1, transmission 1, and we need to now go into our render settings here, and let's just apply some more ray depth, right, to both actually 6. That should do for now. That way we can see through the glass. And now we can see our elements inside, and this is what we're looking for. Alright, looking good there. Alright, pretty straightforward for the glass part right now. Now, let's see what else we got. Alright, so our next part here, what we're going to do is we're going to take this inside face, and we are going to now separate it by, so it's its own element. So actually I'm going to grow this a little bit more, just so it kind of goes down into the that little trough area there, and we're going to detach as an object. And then we're going to have to take this inside face and paste the open subdivisions onto that. And now we have its own separate piece here. Okay, so we can apply that material there, and now we can work closely with this this map. Okay, so right now what I've done was let's just kind of get this in spot here so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about here in just a moment. See if we can get a good angle at it. So we let this kind of refine a bit more. So I don't see anything happening right now, but I created a, so if we go down in here, okay, where is it here? Let's unhide it here. So create this material. Maybe we'll make it a little bit darker, just so we can get an idea of what we're going to do. I want some kind of detail to come around. So I'm thinking something that is pretty much like a gradient radial effect that I can do for adding a bit of detail in. So let's just speed this up a bit and go through this material quickly. Okay, so we're going to just play with the metalness and even some other roughness. We're going to get, I want to keep it almost white, but a little bit of an offset here. So let's just see what we can do. Alright, so we're going to grab these faces here that are in the inside of the trough area where we're going to create this light material that's going to give us that ring light that we're looking for, that's according to the reference image. So I'm going to bring in a new material. We're going to go to Arnold, Surface, Standard Surface, and apply it to this. Okay, so all I've done was select those edges and select their faces and detached it as its own element. And we're coming down now to find our transmission. Where are you? Transmission, or emission, sorry. Emission. And now we set that to 1. And what I'm going to do is go towards a warmer color. Something like orangish color, like so. And let's just crank this guy up till we get some brightness. We get something kind of like this. It's looking pretty good. Just want to bring it out a little bit, maybe so that it shows off a little more of that light. And we'll just paste an open subdivision on that, so it just matches everything. And that's very subtle and nice. I like that. So I got to do that pretty much to the faces of the arms as well, and also all the other little elements inside. So we're going to get those to glow as well. So let's go through that. Alright guys, so I just had to jump through the video a little bit just to speed some things up a little bit. All I've done here was rotated the watch downwards and facing up now instead of horizontal or vertical. So now we have this in place. We can start to set up our lighting a little bit here, and then we're gonna like finish up our materials and all that good stuff. Right now I just wanted to get an idea, so I'm gonna turn off the diffuse of our HDR lighting and just kind of start focusing on getting our main key lights in. We've got some reflection lights, or the HDR is really kind of working for its the reflections, and then we're going to bring in another Arnold light here, make that in quad, and we're just going to bring it over here just to kind of get some light coming from an angle here. I'm going to try to mimic a little bit of the reference image, get something more in that blue tone, and just got to bring up our diffuse a bit too as well, and we're going to start getting a dramatic lighting setup here. Alright, so let's get to that. I'm just going to do the quads here, 10 and 10, maybe I'll just bring that quad down a bit, get something really cool here. Alright, I'll play with a little bit of the diffuse. Maybe just even bring that up, and then just bring down some of the spread just to get that more direct lighting, alright, instead of a softer light, so that we get more of a spotlight effect onto the watch. Okay, and so if we move our Kelvin, let's just see if we bring this all the way. Actually, I got to bring it. Let's see here. If I go to 2000, we're going to get a very warm color, and if I come up and bring it to like 8000, we're going to get blue. I really want to dial this way up, so I'm just going to try something like maybe more like this. Okay, 10,000 or so. Maybe let's try 12,000. I don't know if I even can go that far with the Kelvin, but I just want it as blue as possible. I like this. It gets a little bit of a white highlight, but you get a little bit more blue in there. So I bring this up just to kind of get some more of the shadows to come through inside the face of the watch. We're getting something pretty close already, and this is the fun part. Now I'm just going to finish this watch up with the rest of the materials. Okay, so I just went ahead and added the materials to the rest of the elements of the arms and all the other parts inside the face of the watch. And then also I brought up a little bit of that texture here where we get that little bit of a gradient radial spiral texture in there, just to add a little bit of just some detail. And then I just moved the lights a little bit. We got less of blue in there, but I'm going to now tweak some more here to get more dramatic blue effect going on. So let's get going here, and I'm going to grab our light here. Let's go back to our properties. So we're at 1200 here. And I don't think it goes anything past that. So there's a couple things we could do. Let's go back. Let's undo that. Obviously, this is too much. This is way too far. It's not going to work, but if we go into our color, we can now kind of get something more to match. So we can exaggerate this color a bit more. Something like this. Okay, so I'll just stick with the color instead of the Kelvin for this, and we can now get working on the strap, which is white. This is we got that pearl color going on. Now this is a little sharp for my liking, as the reflection's a little bit sharp, so I'm gonna have to play with that a bit too as well. So let's go do that. Actually, before I get into the other things here, I'm gonna open up our material editor. And let's grab our face here, which is this guy here. And I believe we have a coat on here, right? We have a coat. We do. So 0, and we got nothing. 1. Okay. So Actually, let's go 0 for now. I'm not going to add the code in. I'm going to go in here and find where that reflection is, and which is the roughness is here. So I'm going to go with 0.1. Let's soften this up. Actually, let's soften this up quite a bit. Let's get something maybe a little more like this. So 0.3 or so, 3.4. And I just want to go, whoop, I went way past. Go to our code, hit 1. Now we get kind of something like this. And roughness 0.03. Something like that, okay? This gives us a little bit more, softens that area up. That's going to give us a little more realism instead of a hard reflection line there that we were getting. And that's going to help. Alright, so let's go to our strap here. Material, or bring back the material editor. Let's pick our strap, and we're going to have it the same. There it is. Okay, we're going to call this strap. Get in like that. Let's just darken it up. I'm actually going to go make it a little bit warmer. What's going on here? Okay, we're just not seeing the effect too much right now. Okay. Okay, well that's interesting. So what's going on here? What's overriding our... Oh, yes! Okay. So, let's undo all this. I was wondering what was happening. It's because I have some surface on and we need to play with that. I put that on off camera here. Okay, I'm just testing something out. What we want to do is, we do want a little bit, but not a lot. So I'm going to say 0.03 or something like that. Let's go 0.1. Maybe something like this. Change your color a little bit. Let's go more to the warmish color. And I'm going to come back up to our main color here. Let's warm it up. I could actually go more into the blue here actually instead. So let's go more in the blue. Sorry about that. Makes more sense to do something like that. Let's keep it cool. The only thing that's warm is going to be the lights. Let's see. 0.2. Let's back up. So a little bit of subsurface. Now what's happening is we're going to get dark on this side. And so what I'm going to have to do, I don't really like it to be this dark. See how it's just not bringing out that white, right? It's so, because we take the diffuse off from the HDR, and so if I show you this here, if we go to our HDR here and we go to our diffuse and we go back to 1, it's really going to brighten things up, but I don't want it to be that bright. I want it to be a little more dramatic. There is, you know, it's dark, it's shadowy in this area. There's lots of shadow. So actually it doesn't, it's not that bad. 0.5, maybe even 0.1. It's too much. So I want to do like, oops. I'm going to say let's go 0.3. Let's just kind of dial this back up a bit. So, 0.2. Maybe what I need to do is let's grab this guy and bring him over here. What I'll do is just try to drag it to one side. Let's just see what happens if I do some a little bit of tweaks here. So our spread, I'm gonna just go, let's bring it to maybe 1. Let's dial our exposure back down to 0 for now. Actually, I'm not gonna use the spread. So I just want it to kind of hit, so yes, something like this. Let's keep this here. Let's just freeze this angle here for a minute. So I'm going to play with this just a bit. Let's see where our lighting's going to work best. I'm going to take off the target for this one and just rotate it locally. Okay, so our camera's here. And what we're going to do now is focus on getting that light to kind of cool over here, but I want it very subtle. Okay, so this is way too big. Let's go to 1 by 1. Actually, back one more time here. Yep, something like this. Let's see if I can create kind of like a rim light here. Slightly down. Just guess something like that. Okay. Kind of wanted to just light this back side up a little bit here. We have it out of there. Actually, it's kind of hard to say because it looks good. It does look pretty good that way. I don't know. Just being a little bit picky. Let's bring our spread back up. You want to bring our spread rate back to 100%. Let's bring our exposure up a bit. Let's just light it up maybe just a bit this way. So it's pretty cool. I mean, we almost, in a way, get a slight bit of a match here, but I think I could tone down the strap a bit. The subsurface of it. Okay, maybe a little too high. So let's bring it down to 0.01 and 0.1 here as well as a scale. We don't want too much of it. And I think we just got to dial back our diffuse color and darken that a bit. Okay, and then let's just add a little bit of surface texture to this. Okay, so actually I'm just gonna get off the. So find an angle here where we can dial in our material, and this is a good area because you can see the reflection there. So we can add in some bump. Okay, so in the strap itself, I'm going to come back up, and let's see what we can do. We can just add a procedural noise in the normal slot here. Just going to bring that over. Normal. Bump 3D. Bump map. I'm going to use Arnold's noise. Texture. Noise. There we go. What I want to do, 10, 10, 10. Okay. 5, 5, 5. Should be able to start seeing some texture here. There we go. Okay. Bring down that amplitude a bit. And I think at this point, a range might work for dialing it back a bit. So let's go to range. Let's tie it in. Let's keep. And let's just dial in our max. Okay, so 0.01. Let's bring it up until we start to see something here. Should be starting to see, it's 0.1, yeah, starting to see some texture here, good. I'm going to say, okay, let's go 0.2. That could be a little much, right? Alright. No way. 5. Let's cut it down a bit. Okay, so that should help us quite a bit. We got a nice shadow coming through here, looks pretty cool. Actually, let me just go in here and go to show safe frame. I'm gonna lock it in place here. Let's get a nice looking angle. Okay, and now what I think we should do is let's just play a little bit with our settings here. So right now, wow, we got 2 denoisers going on here. That is not good. Let's go with the standard one for now. Let's remove. I don't know why that was happening. It's been sampling a couple of the denoisers to see which works best, but right now I think this is going to be good with the default. So what I want to do with this now is let's start to play with some of the lens effects, and we can go to lens effects here and bring in now some glow, and that's going to bring out some of this glow that we have here into the watch. It's going to just give us a little bit of a cool little style. So if I go 0.1, we should start to see, or maybe even 1. Let's just dial it in. You should start to see some glow happening here. Now that might be 2 because we have to bring our threshold down. Maybe I have to refresh this or something. I think what it is, it's got to load this lens effect in. Okay guys, so what I had to do was I had to just apply over our lens effects here on top of the denoiser. For some reason I was having some issues with the lens effects with the IPR. I don't know if that's a bug or what's going on there, but it's okay. I've got it to work, and I ran the denoiser with this, and it seems to be working okay now. But I just wanted it subtle, so 0.05 seemed to be a pretty good strength. This gives us a little bit of glow. We don't want too much glow happening here, but what you can see now is this looks pretty good. Yeah, I'm really happy with this result. I think now what I want to do is come in and let's just play a little bit with some of our let's see here. We got our color correction. We can do some of that. Okay, we can kind of play with a little bit of the contrast here. I might even want to add, let's see here, a little bit of offset. Okay, let's just get something like this. And really, to be honest with you, actually, I don't know about offset. Let's undo that. We could go use a tone map, and let's see. We're gonna for the filmic look here. Yeah, maybe we also have LUT. So let's see if we plug in a LUT. What will happen here? So you know what? I'm going to stay away from it. I'm going to stay away from it for this tutorial. I'll get into more LUTs and all that in another tutorial at some point. But for now, we'll keep it simple. We'll remove that out, and we'll just still work with our color correction. Okay, so what we can do is bring up some of the gamma here, so we can see a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna bring our contrast to 1.2. Okay, maybe even a little bit of saturation. Get some more blue in there. Bring that up to like maybe 1.1. I'm going to look at the strap here real quick. I want to just see materials, Arnold, surface, standard surface. Let's drag this guy over here. Let's go a little bit more like blue tone. Okay, I don't want that to have the subsurface to it. Okay, and then I'll take a look here. Let's see, I'm just gonna play around a little bit here. Oh, sorry, that was our shadows. No, we don't want to do that. I'm gonna come over to our game. I just want to add a little bit of warmth. So we get something like this. And bring in an exposure. Too much here. Maybe about 0.1. See if that does anything. Just slightly brightens up some areas here. Mid-tones. Let's see. It's going to bring up Just taking a look here. I'm just kind of going through some settings, trying to find something that looks good. Let's go back with our gamma here. I meant to change the gamma here of our shadows. Just want to see what we're up against here. I don't want to really mess with those guys. Saturation, I guess, could I think this looks pretty good. I don't want to be too blue. I just want to have a little bit of, got some purple in there. I guess, yeah, the saturation. Yeah, let's do a little more saturation. That's looking pretty good. I think we're good to say, let's get a final render going here and just have a look at some of the materials and see what we're up against. So I'm going to render this out at a higher quality. If it comes to quality settings here right now actually I got it pretty high for a preview, and pretty much would go with something like this. Let's just see what we can do when we go to a higher res image here and see what kind of details we get. Alright, I'm going to render it out. Alright guys, so I brought up the image here that I've rendered out and saved, and so pretty much what I've done off camera here, I've noticed it was just a little bit harsh when it came to the little bit of that radial, I had a little bit of a texture going on in there. I smoothed it out, just made it subtle. Added back the glass because I didn't have the glass on as well, and just went in and made sure that there is a silver material, pretty much almost like a chrome material with a little bit of roughness added in to these areas here, just to kind of give, because I forgot to actually add materials to the components in the center here and around the edges of the frames of all the elements in there. So I didn't really have anything applied to that when I rendered this out. So I just added them in. And this is pretty much the result. We got a nice of the speckle or the flakes kind of effect that I wanted there. We got a little bit of that nice texturing going on. Almost looks like a leather in a way. Bump map there added in. And yeah, the glow looks pretty good. I think this is quite nice for a product render or just building your own types of consumer products like a watch like this based off of a concept. And this is the result I got. So guys, this will conclude this video of creating this watch, and I hope you guys enjoyed and followed along and got some pointers and tips and things that you can use for yourself to create your own consumer products with 3dsMax and Arnold or whatever render engine that is you choose. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next tutorials. Alright, take care for now.